What is going on, guys? I want to talk to you today about something that's a little bit more practical than philosophical. And I know you're totally shocked by that, but just because we spend so much time talking about the whys and the how comes doesn't mean that there isn't an opportunity to talk about the how to's. And I want to talk to you about this because honestly, I've started to travel more, both in relationship to what I'm doing with this channel and then what I'm doing with Beckett and Rob. And traveling with the suit, it's not necessarily the easiest thing, or at least it doesn't seem like it's the easiest thing when the reality of it is it's not that super complicated. And so today I want to talk to you about what I have done and how I travel with the suit and what I do in order to keep everything looking clean, to minimize any potential damage, and to still make my travel as enjoyable as possible. Now, before we dive in any deeper, I want to tell you that today's video is sponsored by Colonel Littleton. I'm going to have a link for you down here below so that you can go check out these guys' products. I first heard about them when my friend Antonio over at Real Men Real Style did a sponsored post from them, and I was really interested in checking out their stuff because one of the things that has been really frustrating for me when it comes to traveling with my stuff is I invest a lot of money in my suiting, and so I want to make sure that the stuff that I'm using to carry it is of equally high quality so that it actually protects my investment. And so I'm really pumped by what this brand does, and I'm excited to show you guys some of their stuff. So let me show you the first way and the easiest way to be able to travel with the suit, and that is basically this. You wear it. Now, this is my go-to when I'm doing shorter flights because I don't mind sitting in a jacket for a little bit of time, especially because, I don't know about you guys, I get cold in an airplane, and so I'm not uncomfortable in my suit jackets and don't necessarily need to be wearing a hoodie or a field jacket or something else. I'm fine. And then if it does get a little bit warm or the flight's a little bit longer, I don't know, 3-4 hours, then most of the time a flight attendant is happy to take it for me and hang it up, especially because you get a little bit more preferential treatment on a plane when you're dressed well. They may not bump you up to first class every time, but if you have a good, strong presence, you dress well, and you're polite, you've got good social intelligence, most of the time, those flight attendants are more than happy to go the extra mile to take care of you. I mean, it's their job, and they want to do it for somebody who's a good traveler. Now, when I'm just wearing my suit, most of the time that means that all I'm packing is a carry-on bag or a weekender like this guy. Now, for me, this is honestly the ideal way to travel when I'm doing shorter stints because I can fit everything that I need in here. I've got a pair of sneakers, some jeans, a pair of pajamas, a field jacket, a t-shirt, an extra button-up shirt, some ties, socks, and underwear, all in this one bag. And so for me, that's enough if I'm just doing one night overnight. Really easy. I wear the suit, and then I'll give you another trick. If you're going to be wearing something that you are wearing on the plane, you have to kind of know what it is that you're attending, because my own experience is that I want to be wearing a suit or a separate that's actually something that I can separate out. This jacket, see all this nice texture to it, how schlubby and just beautiful that is? This jacket I can get away with wearing with jeans. A finer worsted wool, I can't. And so if I'm going to be going that route, then I know that I'm wearing the suit to and back, and it makes it a little bit more difficult, which brings us to the second option. Now, option number 2 is to use a real garment bag. And by real garment bag, I mean a real heavy duty garment bag. I have used so many of these over the years. I have gone from literally the plastic sheath that you get after you pick up a suit from the dry cleaner to stuff that's a little bit better, it's a little bit more durable plastic, to stuff that's maybe like a polyester canvas. But this thing, this is the real deal as far as like real canvas, real good material. Again, let me show you how the texture on this looks. Check out that canvas. So this is tough, and tough is what I'm looking for. Now this right now, I've got 3 suits that are stuffed in here. For the most part, if I'm only going to be traveling with this by itself, I'm only going to take one. And so what I'll do is almost use this as a carry-on, because there's enough room down here in the bottom that I can put shoes and other things. I can still get away with treating this as like a briefcase or treating this guy like a briefcase, so I can take both of these together, have one down in front of me, have one up on the overhead, and then that means that I don't actually have to travel wearing a suit. So this is another one that's ideal if I'm only going to be gone for a couple of days, and then I'll show you what option number 3 is. Alright, so option number 3 is this bad boy again, and the reason that this works so well is because if I'm carrying any more than 2 suits, at that point, I'm not trying to fit everything in to as little space as possible. I have come to terms with the fact that a lot of times when I travel, especially for work, I'm just gonna have to check a bag. And rather than resenting that and trying to avoid it, I just fully embrace it because it makes it easier for me to carry my stuff. The amount of time that I'm actually inconvenienced by it, yes, I have to wait a little bit longer for a check bag. Yes, it's a little bit more inconvenient to load it or unload it from an Uber. Not that big of a deal when it comes to actually being able to carry enough clothing for a multi-day event in which I need to be wearing multiple suits. Now, you may not be the same as me where the variety of your suits doesn't matter as much. So if it doesn't, that's great. Stick with option 1 or option 2. But if you need to carry more than one suit with you for a multi-day event, then let's go with option number 3, which is to take something like this and use this in your checked bag. Let me show you what I mean by that. I put this in my suitcase, and then I will take socks, underwear, shirts, casual stuff, and I will put it on top of it and then roll the suit bag over it. Now there's 2 advantages to that. One is that it keeps everything softer in there. What I don't want from my suits is a really hard crease, because then I have to worry about getting it steamed or getting it pressed, and I don't want to have to deal with that stuff. I just want to be able to put it on and go. And so I can put it in, fold it over itself with those other items in between. Don't have to worry about it creasing. Don't have to worry about it doing any of that. Now you may be saying, okay, well then why do you need to put it in the garment bag? And the reason for that is because, I don't know about you, but I have dealt with dop kit explosions. And the last thing I want to deal with when I've got expensive clothing in my bag is having to figure out how to get mouthwash or shampoo or something else out of it. So it just provides another layer of protection for anything else that could be in there. The dirt of my shoes, an explosion from a dop kit, it doesn't matter what it is. To me, it's worth it to not only spend the money on higher quality travel gear, but to also use that travel gear to make sure that I'm protecting my investment of my clothing. I'm gonna show you one other thing that I've recently started using that I really, really love. And this option works for all 3. This is a little tie carrier. Now the way that this works is I've got 6 ties in here, and honestly, this can hold twice that amount. And this makes it so much easier. Holy crap. If you've never tried using a tie carrier before and you travel with suits, I know it sounds like I'm just pitching, but honestly, like, this is a game changer. I freaking love this thing because what it does is it keeps them pristine. Now, if you saw my video about the difference between a $15 and a $150 tie, you know that a lot of times it seems kind of paradoxical, but when you're buying a higher quality tie, the durability of it actually goes down a little bit. And again, I'm fine with that because of what it says and what it does. But by being able to protect it and carry it in one of these things, it doesn't take up a whole lot of space. I can slide this in between the garment bag so that it sits like I want it to. I can protect it from everything else. This does so much to keep my ties crisp, to keep them safe, and to make sure that I don't lose or forget any because I know exactly where they are and where they're supposed to be. So, I would love to know some tips that you guys have found, because I will admit that that is not an all-inclusive list. There are plenty of other ways and plenty of other things that other guys have done, but this is definitely what has worked for me as I have traveled more and more over the last 4 years, and I continue to get better and better at it. Now, I do want to again thank Colonel Littleton for sending me this stuff. You guys, they're such a cool brand. And again, I reached out to these guys because I was so interested in seeing what it was that they had to offer. One of the best things about them is that all of their stuff is handmade in America. And I know that a bag like this can be an attention getter, which for me is usually a good thing because I get approached a lot when I'm in an airport because of how I'm dressed. It's a great opportunity for me to network with other people, pass along business cards, get to know like-minded men. But what I really like about the aesthetic of all this stuff is because it's based off of a classic Western Americana aesthetic, a lot of times it will lean super rugged. And so guys will think, well, I'm not going to carry something like that with a suit, or I'm not going to carry something like that with jeans and a t-shirt. But what's cool is because it's so vintage, it can either be rakish because people aren't used to seeing it, and so it creates a really good juxtaposition between something that's a little bit more streetwear or a little bit more rakish in your suiting and something that's a little bit more classic. Or, again, because it's vintage, if you were to see Teddy Roosevelt traveling as a dignitary, not just like when he's out with the Rough Riders, but as a dignitary when he's representing his office, he's going to be dressed nicer, but he's still going to be using luggage like this. Because even though traveling has gotten so much easier, it's still a little bit of a rugged endeavor because you're going across the world, you have to deal with elements and people and other things that you're not used to dealing with. So having something that's a little bit rugged is a huge advantage. And then the other advantage to investing in quality besides just how well it takes care of your other clothing investment, is the fact that it's going to last longer. Again, I don't know how many duffel bags I've been through over the last 4 years, because I blow out zippers, I ruin shoulder straps. The amount of money that I would have spent on duffel bags over the last 5 years versus buying something that's really quality, again with garment bags. I know I've gone through more than a dozen garment bags in the last few years. As soon as you get something quality, you're saving money because you're not having to replace those things. And these are the kind of things that not only am I going to be saving money, but they're going to get better, they're going to look better, they're going to become a better product over time. So my son is going to be excited to carry these things. He's going to be excited to use them, because then it becomes not just something about the way that I travel, but it becomes a way for me to pass on a legacy to him. Whether that's a watch, a bag, or anything else, it doesn't matter. But if you can do that as a father, it's a great opportunity for your kids. So I encourage you guys to check out Colonel Littleton. I, again, would love to hear what your travel tips are with the suit. Hope you guys liked the video. Leave me a thumbs up, and I will catch you guys on the next one.